Welcome to A Lunch with Biggie, a podcast about small business and creatives sharing their stories and inspiring you. My guests today are a husband and wife duo that love local small business and decided to use their marketing, merchandising, and design skills to create their own brand so they can collaborate and further support other small businesses as well as Florida wildlife. Please welcome the owners of Sandhill Supply Co., Ashlley and Kevin Lemke. What's going on, guys? How you guys been?
Hi, good.
Hey, we're doing good.
Yeah. Well, good. I appreciate you guys taking the time to come chat with me today and have during lunch. So I appreciate that. I guess first question, always right off the gate, what's your go-to lunch/sandwich?
Mine, to get really specific, mine is the turkey pesto from Sideward. It is probably the best sandwich I've ever had.
Wow.
And it helps that their beer is amazing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say generally, for a sandwich, I would have to say a pork katsu sando from Boba Queen.
Okay.
It's a really good sandwich if you've not tried it before. If I'm not eating a sandwich, I'm probably going to Sticky Rice Wow Street Food because probably one of the best places I've ever been to.
Nice. I love it. I like those. I like all those. Those all sound amazing. So that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about you guys and tell people so we can get a little bit more information. So like I said in the intro, you guys started in 2020, kind of started off as like a small creative studio, and kind of, what led you guys to want to start Sandhill Supply Co.
So we actually got married in 2020. So we got married in December 2020, and we planned everything from everything with the wedding. We planned design, invitations, everything. And once we started coming to an end with that, we kind of felt like we were going to miss having, that creative outlook of being able to design stuff and have, products that we made, and kind of just putting our own spin on something.
Yeah.
So we were actually driving and we had been talking about like opening a store, years down the road. And I was like, why don't we just do an online store? I mean, it makes sense. People do it. It's, a way for us to kind of keep on with the creative.
Yeah.
So we kind of just took that and ran with it and we started it. So like I said, we got married in December. I want to say we started planning everything around August of 2020 for the business. Because at that point we had kind of started winding down with the wedding planning and kind of went towards that. So we launched the Instagram. There was like one post on it. Somehow people found us.
Yep.
And we just kept kind of teasing it. Every couple of weeks, we'd post like a weird story. It wasn't really like telling people too much of what it was.
Yeah.
And then we finally announced the launch date, I think in either December or January. We finally said, we're gonna launch in March. This is the date. We're gonna put it on paper so we can stick to it and launch it. Yeah, that's how it kind of started.
And tell people a little bit about your backgrounds, because I know that what I love about it is the fact that you guys kind of have, you both have that whole marketing, merchandising aspect of it. And then I know Kevin's also got the design aspect. Actually, do you also design or?
I don't design. It's only him.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just kind of the marketing person. I run the Instagram. So if you ever reach out to us, it's most of the time me. Emails, I usually answer. I handle our wholesale stuff. But yeah, I mean, we both came from retail. I've been in retail for 10 years. I was a manager for most of those 10 years. And I personally did so much with retail as far as merchandising and buying, marketing, and I'm in marketing now.
Yeah.
So it kind of just made sense that we both have ran businesses for so long for other people that we kind of wanted to take it to our own.
No, makes sense. So let's talk about the brand. First questions first, where the name, obviously it makes sense since you guys do quite a bit with like the Florida wildlife type stuff, but the name, what made you come up with Sandhill Supply Co.?
Yeah, I'll take over for this one. It really came from I was driving home one day from work at my previous job, and I saw this like giant bird that I had never seen before. We had moved from Northwest Florida, and there's not a huge amount of bird wildlife. I mean, I guess there is, but I saw a sandhill crane crossing the road. It was like looking both ways at first. I was like, this is the craziest bird I've ever seen in my life. And then I came home and told Ash, I was like, yo, I saw this bird that it's like the size of like a small child or a
Yeah.
toddler. And I was like perplexed by it. I was like super into it. We didn't know what the name of the bird was at first, so we did a bunch of Googling and really just fell in love with the just like how the birds are, just seeing how they, interact with one another. And since we wanted to start a company, we just decided to kind of name it after the sandhill crane.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm gonna give you guys I'm gonna take a little something from you guys because one of the things that I love that you guys started doing was the Florida facts. And I'm gonna drop some because obviously I love sandwich facts, but I'm not gonna give you like a sandhill sandwich fact. I'm gonna give you a sandhill crane facts. Do you know that a baby sandhill crane is called a colt?
I think I did from the previous research, but I didn't add it
And
because I didn't
then
know if it was true.
based on my research, I found that's what I read. And then the other thing what I liked about it, because I kind of was like, damn, I'm like, this really makes sense because I really do feel like I love the energy of the two of you whenever I see you guys. And I don't know if you guys know this, but they say that a pair of cranes represent good luck and true love.
I
Is what they
didn't know that.
represents. So it was very interesting to me when I started researching because I was like, oh, I'm kind of curious because as I was looking for that, I kind of was like, I love the little Florida facts that you guys include in there. So I just was one of those things where I was like, I'm kind of curious on like, I was trying to see if I could figure out why you guys picked it. So I was like trying to research and trying to get a little bit of some facts myself on it. So let's talk a little bit about your products because you guys have kind of like a very interesting array of products. So I'm kind of curious, like, how do you guys come up with it? Because if you were to go to their website, Sandhill Supply Co. and actually look at their products, you'll see everything from, like you'll see enamel pins, stickers, brass key rings, carabiners, ceramic snakes, which are very interesting to me, the incense bricks, the matchsticks. So I mean, I'm just kind of curious, like where does it come from? Is it like what's the, I guess if you were to tell someone if someone were to say, well, okay, that's interesting as I'm listening to this, what exactly is the aesthetic or the I guess what kind of feel and look are you giving if you were to go to the website? What would you say that is?
So what we kind of went into it, we wanted to do kind of the best way to put it. This is a hard question to answer every time we get asked it.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah. But we wanted to do kind of like a momentum for when you're leaving Florida, you get a little item. So, like the tourist shops that you can get a little piece of Florida and bring it home. Or even if you live here, you just want something in your house that's Florida related. That's kind of what we started with. Because for us, we always design stuff that we can't find, but we want.
Okay.
So when we first started out, we kind of went with the Sandhill crane because no one makes anything with it there's no postcards, art prints, anything like that. So I would always try to find stuff for him as a gift and I could never find anything. So that's kind of where, using the Sandhill started. And then we kind of just went with that with all of our other items is, we can't find these in the store. We want something for ourselves like this. So let's just make it ourselves. And then it's going to be exactly what we want. We do a lot of our stuff is very minimal. It's very minimalistic. It kind of matches our style. Our house is very minimal. We do a lot of black and white. I know he likes to design.
You won't see that large of a color palette. You'll see a lot of neutral tones. I like a lot of brass, white, black products. Like Ashley said, just very simplistic. timeless goods. I want something that's not going to be a quick fad that's probably going to go out within, a couple months or maybe even a year. I want it to be something that's always going to be around.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got
And then
you.
with our other items, we wanted to curate some items from other small businesses. So a lot of times you'll see this, like you said, the ceramic snakes or the incense bricks. We actually get those from other small businesses that are not Florida based, but they're US based. They're all made in the US. So it kind of just ties really well into our products, but it's something that we wouldn't be able to make. Like,
Yeah.
we can't make ceramic snakes, but I fell in love with them when I saw them.
Yeah.
And that's definitely, we wanted to find pieces that we could just keep on the site. So something that you'll always see, will always have. And it's something that you're not really going to see in any other stores. Because I do try to do a lot of research, and I try not to sell something that a local store that we typically shop at. I try to stay away from selling anything or any brand that they typically sell. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of digging to
Yeah.
find these brands.
Well, I mean, and that's where your background comes in as being a merchandiser, just trying to figure out what is it that we like. And so, I totally, from knowing you guys in the short period of time, I could pretty much see all these things are, if you would have just given me the answer, these are all things that I would have in my house. I would be like, yes, these are all things that I would see in your house. And I love it. I think they're really cool. And it's funny because it is very simple to like how, it's funny because I know, Kevin, you describe your style from my research and I would totally agree with it. Very clean and intentional, which is exactly how I would see these things, and see these products, but they're great. And I mean, they're just really nicely done. And I definitely like everything from like the concrete and the cement catch-alls, all those little things are just all little pieces, almost kind of like a lifestyle brand, creating a lifestyle brand. One thing that I've noticed, and I'm kind of curious because I kind of want to be able to give maybe some insight to some folks who maybe are designers or kind of thinking this way. One of the things I noticed is that you guys have created items that, kind of like are one. I mean, I see obviously like enamel pins and stickers and stuff like that, and I see some like like handkerchiefs and stuff like that, but I don't see like t-shirts and things like that. Is that because of on purpose, or is that like you're going to build to there, or is it more of a fact that it's kind of like, because I mean, I have a love-hate with apparel, so I'm kind of curious on what your thoughts are on that as you guys continue to grow.
Yeah, I'd say definitely. I don't think that there's any products that we wouldn't have. It just comes down to me being very picky on how I design things, but nothing's out of the question. Shirts will definitely happen in the future. Any
Good.
sort of apparel, including like wool, 5-panel hats, maybe in the future. That's something I'm working on right now as well. Tote bags are coming pretty soon. So pretty much everything is definitely going to happen.
I love it. I love it. No, that's kind of great. And then where did you guys come up with so one of the things, if you were to go on their website, and it's very popular, is the street sign stickers. Where did you guys come up with, like the pretty much the fan favorite street sign stickers? Where did that concept come from?
Yeah, so I guess it seems like a lot of my ideas are coming from me driving, because it's the same thing that happened with coming up with Sandhill Supply Co.
Yeah.
I was driving back from Miami, and I was just kind of zoning out a little bit. Street signs, any sort of signage, period, really captures my attention. So I was just like, oh, but I don't think anyone's ever made a holographic street sign sticker, just because, when you see the signs, they're holographic, have some reflection to them. And I thought it'd be a good idea to just highlight all of our favorite neighborhoods. And that's really where it kind of came from. And they've been more popular than I could have imagined, really. But we just highlighting all of our favorite spots.
Yeah. I think that's something that, I think the reason a lot of those places, especially from talking with, or be even going to like the Good Crowd and like, in College Park and all that stuff, everyone has a very much of a love, especially in like in Central Florida and even in other areas. Because even in my conversations with the folks over in AB Newton, they've realized that there is a massive love for like obviously where you live. So it's kind of a great mix because it hits on the point that Ashley brought up on the aspect that kind of like almost like touristy in the aspect of something to help you remember a place. And at the same time, it's something, or if you were to leave a place, then that's like, hey, that's where I'm from. So it's a great remembrance. And I think they're great. I mean, heck, I mean, when you say that, my brain goes to certain things, and obviously because my brain always goes to different places, like I'm sometimes amazed by some of the sewer, some of the graphics that are on sewer, on the sewer, and it's like, that to me is like, I look at some of those and I take pictures of them a lot when I when I travel, because there's some amazing art on those, emblazoned onto those sewer caps. And so that's like one aspect where I'm like, oh, that's like a cool concept. Same thing with like the welcome signs, like when you go into certain areas where they welcome you. I think those are always I always appreciate seeing like the welcome to Orlando or whatever, things like that. Those are always great. So yeah, I thought that's one of the things that I really appreciate when I see the little details that you guys come up with, that I was like, man, I'm like, that's really cool how they are doing it. And a lot of it, from what it sounds like, is that you guys are just literally just, kind of saying, not obviously you're driving, but like not on your phones, and actually taking in your environment, and then kind of taking in things like that, plus things that you actually appreciate and enjoy. So I think that's awesome. I really, I love that.
Thank you.
What would be so since you guys have started and you guys started doing events, what are some things and lessons that you guys have learned that you guys would share with someone else? If, based on what you've kind of gone through and experienced as you're, because little by little, you're obviously growing. What have you taken in? What have you learned, that you can maybe share with someone else?
Display definitely matters. How the booth looks matters. We get so many compliments of even like people who don't necessarily purchase from us at the market, but will follow us later on. We always get compliments on it, and we do try to put so much into our displays. Because when we started these markets, we didn't want to just look like every other booth. We wanted to stand out, and we wanted to stand out by the presentation of it, because at the end of the day, people come over because of how the booth looks, and I've been pulled in just because of the way the booth looks, and they may not sell something that I'm interested in, but I'm always going to remember it because it caught my eye.
Yeah.
And then just kind of meeting people. Like, I'm very much what is it, like an introvert? Is that the right term?
Yeah, that's the popular term. Yes.
Yes. So I am not like the most talkative. I'm not going to just talk to a stranger on the street. So this has definitely gotten both of us out of that shell. But meeting the people at the market and holding conversations and just getting to know people, that's been such a fun part of it. And I think that they definitely care about that too, instead of just treating the person like a customer of like, hey, thanks for buying our stuff, okay, bye.
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to get to know the people who are buying our stuff, and we definitely have built up, even with vendors, like, built up friendships. And if we see a certain vendor at a market, like, we're like, yay, you're here, like, we're next to you, this is going to be a fun day. Like, we may not sell anything, but this is going to be fun. Same with like our regulars who come and visit, like seeing them, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, we've seen you at every single market and you always say hi. So it's definitely just kind of building that relationship. We try to do that on Instagram too. We try to, keep people in to kind of where they feel like they're interacting with us, talking to us, just so that they're not visiting another store's Instagram. It's more fun. It's more meaningful.
They're getting something out of it.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
really how it goes. No, those are great. Yeah. What do you think has been the hardest part so far?
I mean, the heat.
Yeah, definitely the heat of these pop-ups. I would say also just, I would say from a business standpoint would be from, I would say building more awareness and the marketing aspect of it. We try to keep it organic. We don't like paying for ads. Ashley can probably add on to that a little bit more, but I'd say building an audience is it's pretty difficult, but it's growing slowly but surely.
Yeah.
And also not getting down if you don't make a lot in that day. Because when we first started out, we didn't have a huge following, and we didn't, we barely had maybe 200-300 followers at the time. And we were definitely getting down. We had a market that we did really bad at, and we're like, we're never doing this again.
Yeah.
And then we got invited to another one. It's like, okay, I guess we're doing this again. So just not letting it get to us if we do have a bad day
Yeah.
at a market. Because the way that we started thinking about it now is if we don't do well, it's marketing. People are seeing us, people are talking to us, they're taking our postcards. And at the end of the day, that is cheaper than Instagram marketing and paying for ads. So at least we're getting face to face and people are meeting us versus just seeing like an ad on Instagram and not knowing who's, doing that ad. So
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's
people
something
just
we had to work on.
yeah, just having people come by is probably my favorite part. Just even just giving me compliments, saying, "Hey, your aesthetic's sick" or something like that, and that just really that makes me want to keep on creating, nonstop. I just like, when people appreciate it, like all the small details.
No, I totally get it. For me, that is one of the biggest, that's definitely one of the biggest things for me to be able to have at a market is be able to that interaction. I think the interaction is humongous. For me, it definitely breeds, it gives me, it definitely gives me kind of like, okay, well, my idea isn't so wacky or so crazy that, no one, that people actually appreciate it. So I definitely get that. What, that's always kind of that's a tough one. It's always tough when you're trying to like, because I was gonna say like when, especially now, because we're at the point now we're in that weird iffy time frame that I think of, based on like we're about to hit summer, we're about to hit the rainy season for us in Florida, and then it's becoming like, okay, what events do I do? And then kind of like choosing and picking. And so, is there something that you guys are starting to as you kind of are doing more markets, are there certain criterias or certain things that you're looking at, or are you guys just kind of like, hey, I'm willing to try a new market, or and kind of see what options are available? What are you guys doing? Because I've seen you guys go to different locations, like in Lakeland and stuff like that, which I think is great. I'm just kind of curious, like, how are you either finding those places, or how are you deciding to go to those events?
We have been invited to a lot of events that we've attended. Lakeland was nice enough to invite us out.
Yeah.
We were recommended to them and they invited us, and we were super excited because that market, that like little food hall that we went to, we
the
go
joiner.
there
Yes.
all the time. Yeah. But I'm not too picky with the markets. I usually just sign up for ones that I see going around Instagram. If it's a market that doesn't work well with us, then we won't do it again. We have had a few that like what we're selling and how our stuff looks, it just didn't match the market that we've done, which is fine. And you're going to have to learn that. Yeah. But I mean, once we do a market and it doesn't do well, or we just don't feel like we fit in, I've had to turn down a few that I'm like, I just don't think it's right for us.
Yeah.
And we're taking up a space for someone that, might fit in better with it.
Yeah.
But we do have a few markets that we just always do. Milk Mart has been the one that we've always done, and it's really fun to do, and I like that one a lot. And Red Light is nice enough to always invite us out to the fun little events that they're doing, and that one's always so much fun to do. So I think going into it, I'm gonna start sticking with markets that I know for sure work well for us and that we fit in with. But I do want to try to start getting outside of Orlando. We're doing a DeLand market coming up.
I know, I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
And then eventually I do want to try to get up to Jacksonville and do some, just to try to get our name out of just Orlando and kind of more into all of Florida.
Mhm.
Because we definitely don't mind driving. We drive.
I was
all
to
the
say, you
time.
guys
well,
road trip a lot. You guys road trip a lot.
Yeah.
So I was kind of curious about that. How, like, if that with you road tripping, even though, does that lead you to kind of start thinking of expanding the brand or doing similar-ish things to some of maybe your favorite places that you go to, which kind of obviously then would open up other opportunities for like wholesale and things like that in other locations.
Yeah. So we're actually gonna take a break doing markets during the summer. Just like you said, it's so rainy and it's
Mhm.
unpredictable. So during the summer, we're gonna take a pause. We might do a few if they're inside, but nothing outside. I do want to start reaching out to places to do wholesaling. But I want to try to get into places that aren't in Orlando, just out in Florida. I'm from Atlanta. My dream would be to get our stuff in Atlanta. I would
Mhm.
probably cry if I saw anything in,
Yeah.
my home city.
Yeah.
So eventually, hopefully, if we could do a market up in Atlanta, I would be over the hill about it. Um, but yeah, I mean, eventually, hopefully, I mean, we just went to Nashville and we fell in love with the area, and
It's
I
great.
would love to get stuff up
That's
there
a yeah,
too.
yeah. I've reached out to a few stores there and
Yeah.
see if I can maybe get some deli fresh over there. So yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely understand where you're coming from. And that's kind of one of the big things. And I've done the same thing because to try to expand and kind of go to different areas, even though I have certain markets that I always go to.
Mhm.
Like I'm actually doing one in Winter Haven, which I was asked and I was kind of like, okay, it's indoors, which is one of the big reasons why I decided to do it. Cause I wanted to test myself because it's a smaller setup for me, as opposed to what I usually do when I do a tent, because it's like an
Okay.
8-foot table. And so I kind of wanted to do that, but I also wanted to do it because I kind of become very hesitant when it comes to, like, I hate the rain. And obviously, like anyone who has products hates the rain.
Yes.
And it becomes very prevalent now in the next coming months. So it's like one of those where I'm like, do I not? And then that's always a tough one when you're trying to deal with those, because some of those you're like, oh, I'm guaranteed I'm going to get torrentially downpoured,
Yeah.
on there. So that's one of those where I see that happening quite a bit. Um, so yeah, so I think it's great. I'm super excited for you guys because I think you guys, I mean, like I said, I think you guys do a heck of a job. One of the things that I truly love is, and you guys do a great job on this, is you guys definitely are like go all into the events that you're going to. So a lot of
Mhm.
times I always see graphics that you guys create, like the
Oh,
one
yeah.
that you did at the joinery was like the joinery, and it's like it's just very clean and just very like, it's so nice that I was like, if I was like, if I was a joiner, I'd be like, hells yeah, give me that. I want it because I want to print it and put it where I'm at. It's like, it's just beautiful. So it just kind of, it's really great because it's like, it becomes like, it shows that you're invested in, that you're excited to be part of it. And I think that's, to me, one of the things that I love, one of the many things that I love that you guys do. I did a few little thin ones just because I know my lunch break is going to run out soon. Uh, Favorite top three, since I want to talk a little bit about your wildlife. You guys do like quarterly donations,
Yes.
Yes.
as what I've read. So what
Yeah.
are your top three favorite Florida wildlife? Is one of my questions.
Top three. So like just animals,
Well, yep,
basically.
Florida wildlife.
Okay.
What would be your top
Um,
three that you would say that you guys have?
I mean, definitely a sandhill crane.
Yeah.
I mean, they're cool little
Yeah, I
birds.
mean you can't go
Yeah.
wrong with the classic, the Florida Gator. I mean,
Yeah.
can't go
Oh
wrong.
yeah.
Called a swamp dog. You
Yeah.
know.
And then probably the black racer, the
Okay.
snake,
Yeah.
because I mean they're so cool. Their like mechanism is to run and hide versus like biting.
Yeah.
So I think that's a cool little thing, even though they can get pretty big. They're like number one thing is like, no, you're bigger than me. I'm gonna run and hide. So probably those three,
How
I
do you
think.
guys
Yeah.
come up with your donation, like your quarterly donations? Do you have like certain ones in mind that you are planning to do, or do you guys want to change it up every quarter? How do you guys go about that?
So we were originally going to change it up, was the idea going into it. But we kind of stopped changing it up. We've donated to Audubon. Birds of Prey, I think it's called.
Yeah.
They deal with like vultures, larger animals, larger birds that can't go back into the wild. We've donated to Liberation Cat House quite a few times. So that's probably my favorite one. We have 2 foster cats, so anything that can help,
Yeah.
cats, especially theirs, they take in so many special need cats and it gets so expensive, so I love it. So I
Yeah.
mean, we are always open to new places too. I wanted to try to find like a bat sanctuary. I know that they have a few. I don't know if there's any in Florida though. But yeah, anything that kind of just catches our eye, if I see it, we'll look into it.
Yeah.
But those 2 have been the main ones that we've used just because like I know, that it's an actual foundation. We've met the people at Liberation, so we know, who we're donating to. And with Audubon, it's such a big, organization in Florida. So yeah.
No, I get that. That's great. Is there like, what's your one advice or one tip that you would give anyone who is either afraid to start, who's wanting to start something, or maybe afraid to start a business?
I would say I wouldn't be afraid of starting. If you're kind of unsure of your work, I don't think that you should. You should just create just for the sake of creating.
Yeah.
That's one of the main reasons I started. I wanted an outlet to, just show off designs and just share artwork with people. That's what I would say, for at least for myself. I don't know what Ashley would add to it.
I would say go into it with an open mind and go into it with wanting to hear advice and wanting to hear feedback and criticism, because you're not going to know everything when you start. We still learn all, we've wasted money on stuff. It, messed things up, messed designs up. So any kind of feedback is amazing. And
Ask
don't
for
go
help.
into it. Yeah, don't go into it alone, because you can ask for help and you can reach out to peers, and there's always going to be someone in the community that wants to help out. So, I mean, definitely don't go in thinking you're, in it alone, because there's always going to be someone to help.
Yeah. No, I think that's some sound advice. Is there something that you guys, I guess one of the things that people, I guess let's go this way. What's the dynamic of being married and having a business? Is there usually, are you guys pretty in sync when it comes to like the concepts of what you're trying to, of like aesthetically the concepts, or do you guys sometimes have like a little bit of a clash? How does that, and how do you guys figure that out if there is a clash?
I don't feel like we ever really have a clash. We pretty much, I mean, we like the same stuff. We have the same style. So like design wise, I'll give him an idea and he executes it.
Yeah, I'll have my own version. Like she'll tell me to make maybe a
the most
new
generic idea.
Yeah, she'll say, just make this, and then I'll come back with it with the concept, and then if we agree on it, we move forward with that. But yeah, we don't really clash with anything. Everything's all
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great if you guys, especially if you guys are both in line with the same thing. I mean, obviously it works that you guys kind of had kind of a foundation when you were trying to do everything for your wedding. So it kind of, you guys already did like one of the most important parts, when it comes to using that and utilizing that. So that definitely makes sense. No, I love that. How can people how can people follow you and support you and do some shopping at your site?
So we have our website, sandhillsupplyco.com. It's easy. And it's just Sandhill Supply Co. everywhere else. We have Instagram, we have Facebook. We don't really use it that often. It's mostly Instagram. And we have a TikTok. It's Sandhill Supply Co. as well. But yeah, easy to find.
Or find us at any local events as well.
Yes.
We'll be popping up pretty much everywhere as long as we find something.
Yeah, and you guys are always posting it on your Instagram stories or on your social media. So that's always you guys do a really good job with that as well. Kevin and Ashlley, thank you so much for taking the time. I've gotten a great pleasure of seeing you guys, and for me, obviously I've been doing this for a while. I love it because I love seeing the fact that I've, like, from the time I've first met you guys, I get to kind of see your growth. and your trajectory. And I'm excited about it because you guys have done some really cool stuff. You guys have collaborated with some fun people. I can see a lot of future collaborations as well because of it. So I'm just super excited for it. And I hope that people take the chance to take, visit you guys and check it out, but also maybe even, definitely stop by and check out their stuff. I think it's always, I'm always going in and looking and seeing what they have just because I want an excuse to buy something from them. So I always go by and try to do that. So I do appreciate it. That's our show for today. Thank you so much for Ashlley and Kevin Lemke for being on and having lunch with me. Definitely make sure, like you said, to check out Sandhill Supply Co. And do some shopping online, and obviously give them a follow. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to subscribe, and obviously make sure to tell your friends, leave a review. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you want to support my brand, it's Deli Fresh Threads. Do some shopping there. Tell your friends, anyone who loves sandwiches, by all means, tell them to follow me. I'd love to chat with them about it. Thank you. Until next time, keep eating sandwiches and follow your passion. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.